Hello and welcome along to the latest episode of this week's Acca, sponsored by Sky Bet Acca Freeze. Joe, Jimmy and Sky Bet EFL expert Gab Sutton with you to run through the Saturday coupon and build an Acca of at least 10 to 1, maybe a bit bigger. Let's see how we get on. We want to hear from you as well, so get in touch with Sporting Life FC on Twitter, Instagram and TikTok, or Sporting Life Official on Facebook. And please like, follow and comment this week's Acca on YouTube and wherever you get your podcast. Every little helps, that little algorithm boost for us. Remember as well, this podcast is for 18s and over. Keep it fun. Never bet more than you can afford. Please gamble responsibly. Right, fellas. Well, welcome, Gab. Lovely to have you.
Yeah, nice to be here.
Becoming part of the team now, aren't you? You're on here so regularly.
I thought you were about to sing "Consider Yourself" for a moment.
I must say that you came in pretty chipper this morning, and why not? Birmingham City being your club, and you're just romping away in League One. But more on that a little bit later.
Sure.
Well, we'll start with reflecting on last week, Jimmy. It was kind of close, but also it was never really on, was it?
No, what was it? 2 wins and 2 draws?
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think Notts County came from behind, so like I say, never really on. And it's just, I don't know if we're better off switching up how we do it, to be honest. I think going into this week, we changed our approach slightly, but we'll get into that in a bit. But we've got plenty of comments. And good news is there've been a few mean ones because we're doing shite again. Zach9982 said, "Hope it's better than last week." Sorry, Zach, it wasn't. It was probably worse. Welsh Hibby got back in touch to say his wife's boyfriend is on the Acca. He was commenting last week.
What? Just working that out for a moment.
DJ Tone122 said, "First and last time followed," laughing emoji, and I've probably a smart move that getting in and out, cut your losses while you're only a little bit down. But I was just saying before we started recording, somebody is called from Obis. Fuck knows with these. Why? Just Thrombosis. Maybe. I'm glad he's not here, otherwise I wouldn't have read it out. But Jake's column, someone basically, they put £10 on his sixfold Super 6 Acca. Not correct results, just 1x2 for the Premier League. It must have been last weekend, and they won 1.3 grand from a tenner.
Oh, wow.
So a bit of context to that. So Jake writes a column on Sporting Life every week, Premier League predictions, and he does a score prediction for every game, including the 6 games that are included in Super 6. So it shows that some people are looking and they're taking his advice to build a Super 6 Acca. So fair play to that person.
1.3 grand.
That is mad, isn't it?
Yeah, unfortunately.
Maybe we should add him to the panel. Well, to be fair, it's Jake's.
Jake's already on the panel.
Yeah.
On holiday at the minute. Last comment from me is from Brian Judge. He says, "Come on, guys, what about a 20 to 1 plus Acca?" And it's funny you should say, because I think me and Joe have both got bigger price.
Yeah, potentially this week.
Potential picks this week, which I'm excited to talk about. But you got best comment, haven't you, Joe?
Yeah, the one that George, our social media man, sent me this week, which was not strictly about the Acca, from Martin Martinson, which was replying to Gab's Team of the Week that he does for Sporting Life on the EFL every week. "How can you possibly make a meaningful team covering the whole EFL, Gab? Did you watch all 35 games that took place this weekend?" And Gab's reply, immediately, might I add, it wasn't like a little while later, "Yeah, I have no idea what happened, so I just put all the names in a tombola and hope for the best."
It's just true. Yeah, it's just potluck. I've no idea. Yeah, just random names come up.
Just right up there with some of Gab's quick replies to the feedback that he's had, which was earlier this season. Somebody asking if he was wearing spray-on jeans on one of this week's Acca episodes, and he said, "Yeah, just saves time, mate."
But that's the trick when you get overly critical responses who are just there to catch you out. What you don't want to do, what I've learned, is going back with a serious reply. You want to come back with a really funny reply, 100%. Or just doesn't take them seriously. So
never take ourselves seriously.
That's a trick.
Just before, how many games do you actually think you watched this weekend in the EFL?
I would say, so I try and watch the extended highlights of some games, so the 10 minutes is better than kind of what you might catch on ITV, for instance. And then I sort of also rely a little bit on what fans are saying, because if you're in touch with fans who go every week and have a real feel for things, that obviously helps inform your opinion. So obviously I can't watch all 35 games.
No,
lazy.
But yeah, I try and stay in touch with people, I guess.
How many then this weekend? How many do you reckon? More than 3?
Are we talking extended highlights?
Full,
Or
if
full
possible.
games?
It's a ridiculous question.
Yeah.
It's a fair question.
Yeah, a couple of games maybe.
Beautiful.
All right, cheers for that, Jimmy. Really helpful.
Wanted to know.
Right, I think time that we crack on try building Acca for this week. Final word on last week, because I feel like we've really sold ourselves as being terrible at our jobs. It really wasn't miles away last week, so it was 4 games.
Don't win, it's a loser.
Birmingham and Vale won. Notts County at Morecambe, Sheffield United at Portsmouth. Both those teams drew. So going into the final stages, then it still was on, because we needed those. If those teams had scored, it wouldn't have been a shock. Sheffield United, the favourites against Portsmouth. Notts County, the favourites against Morecambe. Really wasn't miles away. So when we're talking about we need to throw everything out and try a new way of doing it, I don't think so. We're not miles away. I've had 2 winners already this season.
That's the process.
Exactly. Like it, football manager speak. But seeing as you're very enthusiastic this morning, Jimmy, I like it. Then first dibs.
You mean it?
Go on.
Odds against 6-5. Leighton Orient, I think they're going to lose to Lincoln. At home. Lincoln are at home. I messed up the way I've read that out because I wanted to look down the camera. But the tip is what I fancy, my strongest for the Acca. And odds against, I think it makes a real good start, is Lincoln at home to Leighton Orient. Basically, 95th minute equaliser against high-flying Blackpool in midweek. They only had 10 men. Extends their winning run to 6 games. They've only lost to Barnsley this season. Extending back to last season, that's 27 games. They've only lost 3 times, and they've won 16 of those.
It's very impressive.
It's unbelievable.
I mean, I like Leighton Orient this season, though. I think they've had a really tough hand in terms of the fixtures, and I think in a lot of their games, even against some of the top sides, Birmingham, Charlton, Bolton, they have been competitive.
Yeah.
So would you necessarily want to go against them at odds pretty close to evens?
Yeah, Leighton Orient, their 2 wins have come away from home, which is also a bit weird, isn't it?
Yeah, they won at Reading, didn't they?
And what happened in that 4-1 against Stockport?
Well, Ethan Galbraith got a couple of goals, and then who's the number 7 that they've got? Used to play for Crewe. Dan Ajayi scored, I think, didn't he? They've got Ollie O'Neill as well, so they've got some dangerous players, Leighton Orient.
Do you know that result? Was it just an absolute freak, or was it well deserved? Like, was it a 4-1 and was it out of the blue? What would you say?
Good question. I think generally Leighton Orient have played better than a lot of their results have merited, so I think they're probably due that sort of result. The 4-1 at Stockport, based on the way they've played in some of the games, including against Birmingham, probably one of the best teams Birmingham have played so far this season. So I think Leighton Orient are a bit better than maybe the table suggests. But I mean, 6-5, it's not like it's odds. If it was odds on, I'd probably contest this more strongly, but I'm willing to sort of go with the majority if Joe's keen on this one as well.
Yeah, so I had this in originally as well. The 6-5 kind of draws me into it a bit, and I like Leighton Orient. I really liked them last season, and then if you look closely at their recent results, then they started the season poorly.
Yeah.
But that win at Reading, so that's the 14th of September. Then they went to Brentford in the Carabao Cup, and they were really competitive, took an early lead, got knocked out, then won 4-1 at Stockport, then drew with Peterborough, who were going to be in the playoff mix, then drew with Wrexham, who are going to be in the automatic promotion mix, and then played a really, really tight game against Exeter in midweek where they had all the play, 70% possession, and they've lost. So their only defeat since they've actually turned their form around is one that was really tight and probably undeserved. So I think it is a risk to be putting them in because they're a good team who started the season badly, and they've probably turned it around in the last month.
Yeah, I think they're a mid-table side that's probably a few places lower than their natural position right now. So my suggestion would be, should we shelve this one? We can always come back to it if we think that we want to go to it to expand the Acca, because it is good to get an odds against one in there. But should we look at some other options for now?
Yeah, very diplomatic, Gab.
Yeah.
Why not?
I'd be similar. Can I go? That's all right.
You're in charge.
I'm in the same league, and I'd be taking the even money about Exeter to win at home to Cambridge.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
That's best.
Yeah, Cambridge. I've got the record in front of me now. Under Gary Monk, it's 1-2, drawn 5, lost 13. No,
they did manage to win at Barnsley though.
no, somehow. Oh gosh, no win in 16 matches, 1 point from 8 games this season. And Exeter have started really well against a tough schedule. Beat Rotherham and Stevenage at home. Beat Bolton away. Got a point at Wigan. Narrow defeats at Blackpool and Peterborough. 1 defeat in 5. 4 clean sheets in 5. Cambridge have only scored 6 goals all season.
It's the defence for Exeter, isn't it, Joe? Because you look at it, they've got Super Joe Whitworth in goal. They've got Pierce Sweeney at the back alongside Tristan Kramer and John Lee Yefeko. 2 of those are new players. Sweeney's more of a stalwart, but that back 3 has come together straight away, and they've already got a sort of an understanding with their goalkeeper. So I can't see Exeter City conceding in this game because of how weak Cambridge United's attack is and their defensive strength, and therefore I think they're going to grab 1 or 2 goals and win the game.
Yeah, not much to add. The money's come for Exeter. They're shade under evens now, which is probably a positive sign. The only things really I've got to add is Gary Monk looks like a dead man walking at Cambridge. I'm sure he sent out his assistant after the defeat to Rotherham. Mm-hmm. Not good vibes from Gary Monk in the dugout at the minute. And the other thing is that defeat against Rotherham. Rotherham haven't won away since October 2022 until that game. So I know I was bigger than pre-season, but that away record is astonishingly bad, and Cambridge lost to him. And the final thing to add is Exeter. I want this in, by the way. Exeter record against the bottom 6 last season. They only lost twice in 12 games, won the other 8. So absolutely no complaints here.
1 8 to the other 10.
12 games, 8 wins, 2 losses, and then it must be 2 draws as well.
Nice one. We got it. Okay, so the first pick for this week's Acca is Exeter to beat Cambridge at 19-20. Okay, so we're up and running, and I'm hoping that even if the head potentially says no from Jimmy on this, which I don't think it will, who's a manager that we love in the Championship? We really, really like.
You?
Yeah, you. Well, you like.
You love John Mousinho more than
I know I do love John Mousinho, but yeah. Yeah.
I hadn't set that up on purpose.
Oh,
but, visit Sporting Life's website. We've got a wonderful article published by our very host today. Portsmouth to finish top half, I think it was.
The only way is up for Portsmouth.
Before, obviously, last night's 6-1 defeat.
Yeah, the good thing is you can get an extra couple of points on the price.
It's drifted, can you believe it? Yeah, sorry. Who do we love? Chris Wilder, I'm assuming.
Yeah, we like Chris Wilder, but in a similar mode, we could be here all day.
Championship?
Yeah.
Let's go, Bram.
Oh, God, this is silly for me, isn't it?
Guess which one?
I'm going to tell you, Mark Roberts.
Oh, yeah.
Right. Okay, so Coventry to beat Sheffield Wednesday at odds against 21-20.
Where is it at?
So, at Coventry.
But Sheffield Wednesday's a massive. They're like 16-5, aren't they? Sheffield Wednesday, which is huge.
Bear with me.
Okay.
So Coventry haven't been terrible all season, pretty close all season. I actually went against them in midweek because I thought maybe Blackburn might just get away with it for one more game, because Blackburn have been pretty fortunate. They haven't been amazing, but it all came unstuck in midweek. So 3-0 win for Coventry against Blackburn. They were brilliant against Tottenham in the Carabao Cup the other week. Somehow didn't manage to win that game. Coventry went off at evens against Blackburn. They're going off longer against Sheffield Wednesday, who, aside from that game against Plymouth at the start of the season, they were really good against West Brom at home for an hour and then conceded 2 goals out of nowhere, got the game out of the fire. And then there's a bit of a nothing game against Bristol City in midweek for that 0-0. It's the price that
They'd played quite well before that. They went to Luton and Barry Bannon scored a brilliant goal. I think the two performances before West Brom, they'd actually played quite well and only taken a point from them. So I think Sheffield Wednesday are better than the table suggests.
Yeah, I would say, lower mid-table or something like that.
Yeah, lower mid. You don't think they're finishing top half?
Yeah, maybe by the end of the season, but right now, it's the price that gets it over the line for me.
That's the price that would put me off.
21-20 when Coventry are even money to beat Blackburn, who had not lost all season. Sheffield Wednesday, they're a longer price to beat.
When did you do your notes?
Oh no, has the price gone?
It's odds on now, 19-20.
Oh, we're not having Coventry at odds on.
I've got to admit, Joe, allegiances aside, I've got to side with Gab.
Right.
I can't go against Wednesday when they just beat West Brom, who...
Let's move on then. Another one.
Okay. Sticking in the league, West Brom. Odds at home against Millwall. Now, this might frighten you, but don't be frightened. Don't be scared. It's just a good home team against a bad away team. Mm-hmm. Millwall, unbelievable at the Den, without doubt. 2 wins from 4, but they're very unlucky not to get a point against Watford on opening day. And again, I don't know how they lost to Luton based on the balance of that game. Second for XG, top of big chances created, but also second for big chances missed. Now, this is obviously going against Millwall, but the point in all that is they're brilliant at the Den, but they've been crap away from home. All that creativity is really coming from the Den. For example, 10 big chances created away from home, 15 created at home. They're winless away, and they've not played anyone good. Cardiff, they lost to in midweek. They've also played QPR Hull and Bristol City. Now, for me, with the potential exception of Bristol City, those are 4 bottom half teams. Cardiff are going to go down.
They've also not got much depth, have they, Millwall? Because they've got one of the lowest budgets in the league, and I think that's a problem for them in terms of depth. Yeah. I think what you're looking at with West Brom is they've got an assist king in Tom Fellows. Yeah. He's absolutely on fire on the right wing, and they've got a real goal-scoring, prolific serial goal scorer at the moment. He's banging form in Josh Madger. Yeah, so
where has that form come from?
Good question. Yeah, I really liked him at Sunderland a few years ago, and then he went to Bordeaux, was it?
On the he were on the Netflix show, weren't it?
Yeah, exactly. Listen, I really like Josh Madger, and I think I also put a lot of faith in Carlos Corberán because regardless, they've lost Cedric Kipre, they've lost Connor Townsend, they've lost OK Koostley, but Carlos Corberán just seems to make any team that he manages better. So for me, West Brom, I'll have to go with them. Yeah. Was it odds against, you say, as well?
Yeah, it's the price, Joe, for Coventry was.
Yeah, I'm with you.
I mean, there's no... West Brom are far more likely to beat Millwall than Coventry are to beat Sheffield Wednesday.
I haven't got it to hand, but we were trotting it out last year. West Brom's home
form.
record. Go on.
Oh, funny you should say. I've got it to hand. 42 games under Corberán in the league. Guess how many losses? From 42.
3?
Oh, that's annoying. You've guessed lower than it is. It's 7.
Oh,
but in 42.
Well, that's still good. And also, the first one don't count because he just taken over the day before or something.
And the other one in that season, he lost 2 in that first season. Sheffield United don't count. Caveat in the other one, I'm sure it was a stoppage time penalty.
And then I'd worked it out before the Middlesbrough game in midweek, so we're getting towards the 3 that I said now.
Yeah.
Aren't we? That's how we manipulate statistics to work in our favour. So it's about 3, isn't it?
Oh, yeah, Borough in midweek. Finest of margins, though.
Well, that Borough game was... You get that between 2 really good teams. Borough are a fantastic side. So, it was at West Brom. Oh. But, I'm happy to back it, guys. I think that's it.
Nice.
Move it on. West Brom will be right up there this season. That just completely escaped my attention, I'll be completely honest. So
nice.
Thanks for sticking it in.
Bolton Wanderers, then. At Shrewsbury Town, home.
Wait, just a sec. Sorry. Who have we got in then now?
Yeah, so let's round this one off and then we'll come on to our next one. So that's our second pick for this week's Acca. So it takes us to 3-1. It's West Brom to beat Millwall. 3-1. 2 picks in.
Right, Bolton Wanderers.
Yeah.
They're at home to Shrewsbury Town. I'm very confident that Bolton Wanderers will win. They've won their last 3 games since losing 4-0 at home to Huddersfield, which seemed to be a bit of a wake-up call. You know, they've had some conversations with the hierarchy. They seem to go well, and he seemed to realise that he's got a bit of support in the building. And since then, they put 5 past Reading. They put 2 past Crawley. They put, how many were it? 4 past Northampton in midweek. So they've scored 11 goals in their last 3 games, and they've looked a lot more like the version of Bolton Wanderers that I think we were expecting before the season. So I'm very happy to back Bolton Wanderers to beat Shrewsbury Town to add to our Acca.
Yeah. It was interesting because they lost 3 on the spin, and then they've absolutely turned it on. The only thing I was concerned with this, I didn't make any notes on this game. I thought, someone's going to talk about this game. What is it generally like 2-5? Potentially, is it too short? The only thing with me with Bolton is Huddersfield gives like a blueprint on how to beat them, because apparently based on that game, I don't know if they've still been doing it, but they're going to play out from the back no matter how much the opposition presses. And Gab, I guess these questions for you. Do you think Shrewsbury are well equipped enough to press high against them, or just to formulate a plan that's going to beat Bolton? Because Huddersfield give everybody in the league the blueprint to undo this Ian Ebbett side.
I think I take your point. It's a great point, but I think that since Bolton Wanderers have moved to a 3-man midfield, that's made them a lot better at sort of resisting the press, I guess, because Josh Sheehan, one of their best players, probably doesn't do as well in a 2-man midfield, but since they've gone to a 3-man midfield, he's become a lot stronger because he's had more sort of legs around him, I guess.
When did they change to the 3-man? Was that a 5-0 defeat?
It was pretty much at the start of the run when they beat Reading, perhaps. I think it's coincided directly for them.
I'm going to load that up now. That's right, good insight. So basically, they got battered by Huddersfield.
I'm pretty sure it was for the Reading game.
Yeah, they got 3 in there.
Midfield. So
oh my God, yeah, it was.
Yeah.
It was. And do you think it's any coincidence?
Can't buy that insight, can you?
You can't. Well, I wouldn't have known that. I just see the results. Do you think that's why John McAtee's, what's he got? 2 in his last 2?
Yeah.
Is it all to do with the change of formation?
Possibly, but they also at Crawley, they play Dion Charles and Victor Adebayo, who look like they're a good combination as well. So I think since they've gone back to more of a standard 3-5-2 with a proper strike partnership rather than the 3-5-3, 3-5-3? 3-4-3 they had earlier.
5-3, you're going to wipe the floor with anyone, aren't you? That'll be the formation that Guardiola comes up with next. So with Bolton, then I had it down. The only thing is that we're looking 4-9 is the best price for this one. So it'd be right on the line for me. We're definitely heading towards 5 picks if we stick this in. So we probably want to be looking at throwing 2 in at once so that we know where we're going to stand. But personally, I would be happy to have it in. I think Shrewsbury are really, really going to struggle this season, and Bolton, combined with what Gab said about the changing formation. Personally, I always think it's a struggle for a team that they were so expected to win that playoff final. They were terrible, never even got going, to not have a small hangover at the start of the next year. And
Joe, could I make the point, though, that although 4-9 sounds very short, it implies a probability, I think I'm right in saying, about 70% that Bolton Wanderers win. I think the probability is more like 75 or 80% that Bolton win.
Sure, mate.
So
if we stick this in, and then it's a rinse and repeat job for me, because Bolton are 4-9, fair bit shorter than Wrexham to win at home to Northampton at 4-7.
Oh, I'm definitely having Bolton over Wrexham.
But we'll need both. That's the thing. Okay. So the Wrexham price at 4-7, they haven't let us down this season. And for me, I think we just keep riding it until they do. The 4-7 for them to beat Northampton.
Well, okay.
That price is gonna be gone by kickoff every single week. Then they're going off at this price when we're building the Acca on a Thursday or a Friday, and then by the time we get to kickoff, the price is gone. So the Wrexham form, for anybody that we haven't read it out to, won every game at the racecourse so far this season. Home league record under Parkinson now is 158, drawn 4, lost 4, and anything around 1-2, we should be all over against a middling or weaker opponent in League One.
I'll do you a deal then, Jay. You give me Bolton if I give you Wrexham.
100%, mate.
Okay.
I'll take it. And a quick word on Northampton Town as well, who team after my own heart, so I don't like to see them struggling. It was always going to be difficult after they overperformed last year, having been such a yo-yo team for years.
They won at Huddersfield, though.
Yeah, it's a real...
Everyone's winning at Huddersfield.
It seemed to signal Huddersfield's collapse, that, didn't it? But 8 points, they're 19th. They've only won 1 away game since February. They've only won 3 away in the entire calendar year. And previously, it was their away form that probably got them out of League Two. It was the backbone of everything. They're going to have to turn that round in some way, but it just doesn't look like it's going to be at the strongest home team in the EFL. So that's my pitch for having Wrexham in alongside Bolton.
Okay.
Yeah, I love it, babe. What, we having both of them in then?
So if we have both those in, that gets us to 4, and we're only a shade under 8-1.
Heyo.
Nice.
Okay? Nice one. Right, boys. So that is 4 picks for this week's Acca. I'll run through so that everybody knows where we are. So Exeter to beat Cambridge at 19-20. West Brom to beat Millwall at 21-20. Bolton to beat Shrewsbury at 2-5. And Wrexham to beat Northampton at 4-7. That's coming in at between 7.5 and 8-1. Okay, so one more pick to complete what's going to be a 5-fold for this week's Acca. And we spent a lot of time pre-season, Gab, didn't we, talking about MK Dons. And I think you jinxed them. Because it's not for the first time then you predicted that MK Dons are going to win League Two.
I've cursed them, haven't I?
So how are we feeling about MK Dons? A lot of change behind the scenes. Mainly how we're feeling about them for this weekend.
Well, message to the MK Army, I'm never going to talk you up again. But also MK Dons are going to do really well this week. No, I think Scott Lindsay is a fantastic appointment, isn't he? Did a great job at Crawley Town. I think you can see stylistically that they're very compatible with his ideas and the way this MK Dons squad has been built. I think he's got really good man management qualities as well. And you can see that impact straight away. They did draw 1-1 at Bromley in his first game, but then they went and thrashed Harrogate in midweek. And the big one for me is Liam Kelly. Because for me, Liam Kelly, under Scott Lindsay's guidance, has the potential to be one of the best midfield players in the league. Because he's, I think he's one of those diminutive players who's just got low centre of gravity, really, so quick-minded. I think he's playing under a manager he thinks a lot of. And so for me, I see MK Dons putting a great run together, and I'm cursing them again. But yeah, I really like them this weekend. And
what's it? Knocking on wood, by the way, there.
Yeah, is it 5-6?
Yeah, they've just come in at a tad. So I had MK Dons to beat Tranmere down as well because Tranmere. I think we discussed Tranmere the last time you were on, Gab, and they're just a poor League Two team, aren't they?
I think the big loss for them is Rob Apter from last season. They did improve from when Nigel Adkins.
Little smirk from Jimmy. He's just like EFL knowledge coming out of his orifices here. Unbelievable. You just love it, don't you?
Yeah.
Yeah, so Rob Apter, so they did actually improve from when Nigel Adkins took charge and became a top 10 side, but I think a lot of that was the individual quality of Apter, and they've not really replaced it this season. So in terms of star quality, they're a lot weaker. I think sort of change could be in the offing for Tranmere Rovers. There's rumblings of takeover and things like that, and maybe it's a club that's needing some fresh ideas. But at the moment, I think the momentum's going to be with MK Dons, and I see them getting another win that would put them close to that promotion equation.
Yeah, I'm all over it. In terms of the price, then they were 5-6, and it's where they're floating around 5-6, 8-11. There's actually been understandably, because MK Dons have started the season a bit poorly. Now we can see that there's the hangover from last season getting obliterated in the playoffs by Crawley, but then also Mike Williamson may have been agitating to leave, and now he has done.
Iron Mike.
Iron Mike. They've been quite the drift in their prices. So if this had been the first game of the season, we'd be looking at way shorter than this for MK Dons to beat Tranmere.
Be 1-2 or something, wouldn't it?
But there's definitely reasons to be optimistic that MK are going to return to the levels that we expect in the long term now. So for what it's worth, Jimmy, then we stick this in. We all go back to our lives, get on with our lives, and we've got a probable 14-1 Acca, and that's without the nice little boost that we may get from Sky Bet when we send it over to them.
The only thing with Scott Lindsay, Gab.
Oh,
is it a foregone conclusion that he's going to be unbelievable at MK Dons? Because everyone I listen to seems to think so.
It's going to be a foregone conclusion he's going to beat Tranmere with MK Dons on Saturday, though. That's all that we care about right now, yeah?
All right, yeah. Okay.
But you can get your other question, though, if you want.
No, it's all right. Yeah, I'm happy for this going. Beautiful.
Can you answer Jimmy's question in 30 seconds?
30 seconds. So the question, I'm very confident it's going to be a great appointment. I think he's got good stylistic approach. I think he's an excellent coach. I think he improves individuals, and I think he's got great man management qualities.
And are you having it in the Acca, Jim?
Yeah. Get him in.
Nice. So that's it. That is our fivefold for this week's Acca. So I'll run you through it. It's Exeter to beat Cambridge, West Brom to beat Millwall, Bolton to beat Shrewsbury, Wrexham to beat Northampton, and our final selection, MK Dons to beat Tranmere. That's coming out at between 13.5 and 14-1. Thanks for watching and listening. Remember, we want to hear from you as well. Get in touch. Sporting Life FC on Twitter, Instagram and TikTok. Send us your comments. It's Sporting Life Official on Facebook. Like, follow, comment. This week's Acca on YouTube, wherever you get your podcasts. Can you tell that I've been made to read a script by George, our man in the social team? And remember, this podcast is for 18s and over. Keep it fun. Never bet more than you can afford. Please gamble responsibly. And remember, you'll get a boosted link if you visit sportinglife.com at 12 p.m. on Friday, where hopefully we'll get a little bit better than between 13.5 and 14-1. Thanks for listening.